Hi, I wanted to give you a quick overview of the Lezyne Super GPS cycling computer. There's not a lot of reviews online on this particular product, and so I thought I'd share some preliminary views with you. First of all, a little bit of background on myself. I'm a road and cyclocross rider, do a lot of training as well as some racing, both road, criterium, and cyclocross. So I've had a need for a computer that's more generation than those that I've used previously. Typically being a Garmin user, and most recent of my GPS computers is the Garmin Edge 500, which is a pretty amazing GPS. It's been around for quite a while now, and I put this through a lot of use, and it's finally starting to give up the ghost, and it's time to replace it. So I did look obviously at Garmin to see what the equivalent would be, and it would be the Edge 520, which sounds like is a great computer, but it's fairly expensive. Currently selling for between $225–$250. So before I went out and spent that kind of money, I thought I'd see what was available. Had a look at Lezyne. I did some research on them. Liked the fact that they have very good website. They seem to have very good online support, and so after doing the basic research, looked at all the features, the pricing, and decided to give it a go. And the price on this computer is very competitive. You can currently get them for about between $130–$150, which is about half the price of the Garmin 520. And I'm not going to go through all the details because they've got some very good videos you can find on YouTube, which will tell you all about the features and how you can set it up and everything that goes with it. So I just really wanted to give you, so what does it look like, when it comes out of the box? What are the things that I like so far, and what are the things that probably would be more desirable? So comes well packaged as you'd expect, and I ordered the red version, which is the special edition. It comes in black, blue, or red. I thought red would be kind of unique. It's loaded with features, and you can see on the back here, some of the screenshots that highlight some of those. So it's got all the stuff you would need, basic ability to download routes or rides that you want to do. You can set them up and then load them onto the computer. You can backtrack your ride. You can receive messages from your cell phone. You can do segments on Garmin, providing you're a premium member. You can track the rider through an email notification to your next of kin, and you can customize the screen to display all the standard features that you would expect. In fact, I'd say advanced. You can go all the way down to DI2 data being shown on the screen. So all of that is good. And then in terms of software, there are two ways that you can set the computer up and use it. One is through an app which you can download to your phone. So that would be either a Google phone, Android, or Apple. And the app is called the Lezyne GPS LE version 2, and that has all the typical functionality that you would expect. So Bluetooth connectivity while you're riding, uploading to Strava or wherever else you want to connect to. The computer itself is very nice to touch. It's made of what feels like very robust material. It feels solid. It's not cheaply made at all. The finish on it is good. It has buttons to control the features. There's no touch screen, which I personally like, and they're easy buttons. I think you can maneuver your way around these even with gloves on quite easily. It has a little charging port over here, the back, which I think is nice. It's robust. That's not going to peel off. You can see what's happened to my Garmin 500. Those typically go, and then you're never able to get them in again very well after that. You can see the profile of it compared to the Garmin. It actually, when you look at it side by side, it looks pretty much the same depth of computer, but it just instinctively feels like it has a higher profile and not as streamlined or as sleek as the Garmin. And I think what accentuates that is the mount has a slightly projected kind of bottom to it. And in addition to that, I'll show you in a minute, the mount itself is slightly more raised than the Garmin. So when you put the computer on your bike, the one thing I didn't love is that it tends to stand out quite a bit. So if you're into aerodynamics and you want something that really fits and very snugly into your handlebars or your stem, you're probably better off going with a Garmin or even some of the new Wahoo computers. But overall, it's very easy to navigate. It was very easy to set up. I didn't have a single issue setting it up. Got all my sensors working. Was able to upload to Strava pretty quickly and easily, and so I liked all of that. What comes in the box is a couple of bands here. There's a longer band and a shorter band. I don't quite know why these ones are provided, because the reach on them is really not suitable, certainly not for a road bike. So I've used these here, and then you can see the mount is got a fairly high profile, and it has a little rubber insert which is useful, and it kind of fits quite snugly on the bar. You just mount it that way, and then the mount, actually you've got to insert it, press it down, and it's a quarter turn before it locks in. It is not compatible with a Garmin mount, and I'll just show you here because many of you will be familiar with Garmin, and their typical mount you can see has a much lower profile. So the combination of that low profile with the relatively low profile of the Garmin computers means that your computer, as far as Garmin is concerned, sits lower and more snugly. So that's one feature I didn't particularly like about the Lezyne, but I must say the mount is very secure. It's very solid. You only get one in the box, which is unusual. Garmin will give you two. The other thing it comes with is the USB cable for charging, so you can plug that either into your laptop or you can plug it into a wall mount, and the computer came pretty much almost fully charged, and it charges up well and seems to hold the charge, they say, for over 20 hours. Now I haven't tested it, but based on the usage that I've had on the computer, the charge is held well, so I have no reason to doubt that at all. I will just say one more thing, just in terms of features. Now I'm relatively middle-aged, and so my eyes aren't as good as they used to be, so I'm able to ride without wearing prescription glasses, but it does help me when the numbers and the digits on the screen are displayed pretty big. What I liked about the Garmin Edge 500 is I could break my data down to have just 2 fields per screen, and at that size I can read it really well out on the road. With Lezyne you have the ability to determine the number of data fields as well. It's minimum of 2, working your way up to, I think it's about 6 or 7. But what I didn't like is that when you have the 2 data fields on the screen, it makes the one about 2/3 of the screen and the second one is about 1/3. You can't split it 50-50, and so what I find is I can see the top one quite well, but I struggle to see the bottom. So that's something I'm going to have to get used to. The result is I use more screens, and I just make sure that the critical information that I need to see is on the top half of the screen. So that's one feature that I think would be nice if it was different, but nothing really that I can't live with. So my sense is that in terms of modern day new generation computers, this does everything that I need it to do. It's very well priced. It seems to be very well supported. and I will definitely use it for all of my training rides and my touring rides. I think it's going to be perfect for that. I think that when it comes down to racing, just given the high profile of the computer and the fact that it's a little bit more bulky than some of the alternatives that are out there, is I will probably end up going with something like the Garmin Edge 25, which pretty much does everything that I would need a race computer to do. So just wanted to share that with you in case you're considering the Lezyne. I think it's worth it, and I just think you need to be aware of the value for money on the one end, which is great, the functionality, which is more than you could ever want. Just be aware of the size and some of the constraints around the mount. But other than that, it's great value for money, and if you only had to have one cycling computer, I would recommend it. Thanks for watching. Leave any comments that you have.